I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. Bad point. Bad point.
This is where they find out you did tweet,
yeah.
and then you get like exposed in a video, like, and then Maui lied, and he was the one who
No,
said
I'm not sure if I.
No,
I'm not sure what I
whatever,
said about
sure.
them. I've said on my stream. I've probably said absolutely everything.
Yeah, exactly. True.
So I think. Okay, my bad point. My bad point is just the situation with Heroic. I'm really kind of confused by
Yes.
their statement with Nilo,
I know what you mean.
where they said that he's not in the roster, but he can play himself into the roster, and I just simply don't quite get how that functions.
I know.
So I mean, the wording is exactly this. Our starting five is locked in and will have the chance to prove themselves. Therefore, Nilo will not have a guaranteed spot. He will have to fight his way back onto the team. So I'm just really unsure. It's just how vague this is.
I don't know, what does that mean?
And also, yeah, I don't really know exactly what it means, and I also don't know if I don't know if this is like a fair opportunity. Okay, I'm just scratching my head so much that I have like no strong take on this other than I don't know how you make a roster function when Modern technically stood in, then they had Nilo didn't even come to Blast. It was like their core people. Like the team that Magic's you faced was with Modern, and it was not even for Nilo, it was for Tanir, that guy that was from Gun 5.
Right.
So they didn't even play with the backup guy who was supposed to be Nilo, who is, by the way, I like that they tell me that it's a 3-year deal. So I like when people express the duration of someone's contract. But I also see that Nilo is not playing in the opening match versus Liquid. It's Tanir for Heroic. And so the bad point is just I don't really understand what's happening with Nilo, and the whole thing was that we thought this roster was going to be formed with him, and it seemed in the last moments it was Tanir instead of Nilo. But the thing is that I think Tanir is better than a couple of the other guys that might be on Heroic right now, and so I guess they have to maybe cut somebody like Xfloud or Youngster. And overall, that's what I'm just saying is bad here. I'm just not really sure what they're gonna do moving forward, and I don't really know how Nilo gets integrated with the roster, whether it's if someone performs badly, because I'd say the main reason that I think this is extra weird is that it's, to me, I'm not sure who the 1-for-1 positional replacement is for Nilo. And so you would think that it's kind of like a 6-man deal where he would be slotting in, like, let's say he played all of Xfloud's positions. Well, if Xfloud has 2 bad tournaments in a row, I could understand why they would bring Nilo in, but it almost seems like they're gonna just bring him in for any of the 3 riflers and try to make it work. And and overall, I just don't think that this has a great vision to it, or at least what they're telling us. Maybe behind the scenes they do, but as far as I can tell, if someone's bad for 2 tournaments in a row, he's just gonna take their spot.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on this, Magix?
Actually. Do you know who is the agile for this team?
Lina, LNZ.
LNZ, the old nip guy.
Okay. Well, if I remember the statement correctly, it has been saying that he has to fight his way back into the team, and it's actually not possible because, I mean, I don't know how it works inside of Heroic, but actually, you cannot fight back into the team if you can't do anything.
If you can't play.
Like, yeah, exactly. And like, it seems like they just bought a guy, like a talented rifler from Sweden who has been posting great numbers, playing Metasports, and just benched him for 3 years.
No, it does feel like that.
Just imagine that.
Exactly.
I mean, I think he will be replacing one of like 3 Sangal players because they're not using him at the moment because they have the Sangal core of Xcloud, LNZ, and Youngster, and they have to keep the points. They have to play some tournaments and some days, so they would be ready for the replacement pretty soon. And actually, I think that it will not be decided by someone playing bad like couple of tournaments in a row. I think it's probably like a made a decision already. So they're still playing with some of them, maybe just to update the ranking. And when it's made, like the next tournament, they can bring up Nilo if they want to, because like they paid for him. So like it seems like they paid money for a single core to get invited to the tournaments, and they paid money for a player who is actually a young, promising like player, and it's like it's weird, and he can't be on the outside of heroic plans for this year. It's not possible that you have a talented player just warming up the bench. So once the rankings are updated, I think they will be bringing him against instead of someone from the trio. It probably could be also the LNZ maybe, or X-Cloud or Youngster, whatever. And I think the positions, the roles are not that important at this point, because they're pretty young players, all of them, and they can get used to any position. And they also have a great coach of So, which we have seen doing a brilliant job. He's actually, I would say, one of the best coaches probably in this scene, because from what we have seen, he's been able to bring like different rosters, different groups of people to a great results, maybe to some wins on the tournaments or something else. And it was like a completely different course of players that he had. So there's like only Blade comparable to him in that direction, being a coach who achieved something or some rankings, high rankings with absolutely different course. Like, that's a great job for him.
By the way, I actually know what you mean on this one. And I think actually it's a really good job I went last, because I think you both did a really good job showing all the different possible reactions someone could have to that press statement. And I think the core thing I would say is, even though they write a lot of different things and try to give, in theory, a lot of different angles, it's actually incredibly unclear and it's really vague. Like, start with the locked thing. I'm almost certain, just from being someone who's read a lot of PR statements, they just picked the wrong word, Maui. I think what they mean is, we've decided our 5-man lineup. It's this 5 players, right? But because they put, we've locked our lineup, right? The metaphor of a lock is, it's locked in it. You can't get in. You have to use a key to open it. So once it's locked, it makes it sound like, congratulations, we've just signed Nilo. You can't be in the team though, but you got a 3-year deal. It's like, what the fuck? See, what you're saying is, I agree with you, Magic. Quite a promising player for Metasport. One that online was looking really spicy. It's like, good news, guys. We've got him, and we've just locked him in a fucking closet for 3 years. And let's see if at some point he gets out. It's like, what are you talking about? If he's good, why isn't he in the team? But that's why I actually agree that I think it's the other way around, Maui. It's even more cynical than that. It's actually the opposite. What they're trying to do is make it not too controversial when they cut one of the 3 Sangal players. I think Magic's has nailed it. I think what they've done is, they really, if they could, basically on this press release, they really, if they could, would have just signed 2 of the players and Nilo. That's what it looks like to me. But because you had to sign all 3, especially because their core got taken by Falcons, they want to be in the tournaments. So you sign the guys from Sangal, but you don't want to actually tell the public, we only signed like one of these guys because we have to, but he's shit, we're not going to play him. You want it to be like, no, he's going to have a chance to prove himself. He's locked into the roster and everything. But we're also just going to sign this like shit hot, really good player. He's just going to sit on the bench waiting, even though, as you say, Magic's doing what? Like, it's not like if you're not playing him in the tournament, you're not going to bring him into scrims. It'd be a waste of scrims. And also, what position would he play? He's not in all the other scrims. It's just so ludicrous. There isn't another team he can play, and he's on your team, and all he can do is play, I don't know, FPL at that point in time. He can already do that. So this implies to me it's the other way around. I actually think what it's basically saying is, it's almost a message to fans, but even maybe to the 3 players. It's like, welcome to Heroic. We're glad to have you here. We're certainly glad to have your points and have your spots in the tournament. But it's like that scene, and do you remember the film Magic's The Dark Knight, that Batman film that Christopher Nolan made with the Joker in? And there's a scene in it where the Joker does that thing where like snaps like a pool cue over his knee, and he goes, we're holding tryouts, because the implication is the 2 men have to like fight each other to death to see who gets the spot. That's like what this sounds like. It sounds like you're saying, listen, one of you is not going to be here in 6 months, because see that Nilo guy, he's waiting, and he's gonna like, fight his way into the light. Yeah, I bet he is. Sounds like, so I'm waiting to see what happens, because I feel like, yeah, it sounds to me like the timer, if you're those 3 players from St. Gallen, you're not the IGL. Again, we don't know what the idea of this team is. I'd go and look on that GitHub, and I would get really scientific on how the points work, because the second those points aren't needed, mate, you better be better than Nilo. That's all I'm saying. Because I actually agree. Luckily, I do think this means Nilo is going to be brought into the team when they can. And by the way, I think he'll be a good player. I think it's actually quite a good pickup. I could even see a world where maybe like an LNZ or someone asks for this guy and said he's the next, like, you know, top up and coming player. But it better not be what it initially looked like. Because I agree. If it really was just like, good news, Nilo, welcome to the team, you don't get a player, get the fuck out. Like, that is ridiculous. A 3-year contract. We just said about Fury, and this is like the worst version of Fury. It's like, imagine 5 years, just never play CS again. I'll retire as a heroic player. Goodbye. Like, it's ridiculous. I love it. I love it. I love PR. I love how people just get caught up in their own bullshit. Right. For my bad point, this is actually, it's a very brief one, but I actually wonder what people will think about this, actually, because the 2 people in the call, I don't know how much Magix does this, but I know people like Maui on his stream. Of course, he's showing demos, and people like Austin who've come on the show before do whole videos based around it. Maui, I obviously am not a person. I don't do it on my stream at the moment. My PC for CS2 is not good enough. I don't watch demos at this point in time. I just go through POVs that people upload to YouTube, and I'm a boomer in that sense, by the way. So one of the problems is, I know that towards the latter end of CSGO, I mean, we had 1 million frag movies. It was like, you could get really high quality POV footage of all the big games and all the I heard, because I made a tweet, I said on Twitter, right, I guess the frag movie culture in Counter-Strike is just dead, because think about what an insane 2024 Donk just had, and where's all the frag movies? You would think someone would have made like a 20-minute, like, amazing frag movie with, like, you know, Matrix music and like all the sick After Effects and stuff. And what happened was, one of the famous movie makers in the scene, that guy called Sicko, who I think works maybe with Cloud9 or something off the top of my head, he basically said, oh, it's not that. It's that basically last year in CS2, there's loads of bugs in the demos and problems, and that he said something like loads of even like the tournament demos were like corrupted or didn't work, and you just couldn't like extract the demo. So what he's basically saying now is, you can't have like a dope frag movie like CSGO for some of these players, and especially for Donk. Like, it's not like he's playing like CCT. He's playing the biggest lands in the world. Like, that's actually a bit disturbing, because that's like an area where apparently we've just taken like a downgrade in CSGO, and I always worry about that, because I can tell you that's not the sort of thing that's usually like the developers' priority is like fix a demo or something. They don't really get that part of the game. I mean, if you told them like, yeah, but you can still host the tournament, right? Yeah, of course. You still got the stream view, right? Yeah, of course. You still got like the Go TV demo. Yeah, of course. Like, they don't really get why us nerds want like a frag movie guy to have like the super POV. That almost seems like, you know, a bonus to them. But I have to say this, and the reason why I put it as my bad point is, everyone who watched 1.6 will know HLTV was really bad in 1.6, especially in those eras where like it was all laggy and you couldn't see it. It didn't look like a POV demo. And so in the early days of CS 1.6, POV demos were everything. That was how you got the really good footage of the best kills and the best rounds of all time. And so many frag movies, that's what made the frag movie awesome, is that you got the POVs from the player himself. Well, in the modern day, you don't need them from the player. They're supposed to be provided by the tournament. So I just find it kind of sad. Like, I love frag movies. I'm a nerd like that. I love when people put together all the best highlights, but I don't want it to just be like one of those cynical stream highlights back to back to back. I want someone to use their artistry and how technically great they are in the video editing and make something dope. So I think it's just sad if we don't have demos. I hope this gets fixed. I think it's important. What do you think, Magix? Are you a demo watcher?
Well, yeah. I'm usually watching a lot of demos, and actually the demo viewer in CS2 is actually bad.
Oh, right.
I mean, the first time when I tried to open that...
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.